All right, we'll see if we get people back. This is the re-entry. Godless Sermon 41B. Hopefully, we can actually get people back here. We apparently were taken down for a copyright strike, which sucks. But you know, after a year of doing these sermons, to now start getting strikes. You know what it is that we've got a big enough audience now that we can't be doing that. So we can't be showing as much. How many times have I actually shown this movie? It's like after all this time, this is really, guys. It's like this. We've shown clips from this movie so many times. Hello, the crow, Kathy. That is a good question. Crow is going up for auction. We are those of you who don't know. Maybe I'll put up a banner. We still have the banner here. Yeah, here it is. February 22nd. We are having a silent auction to benefit Cherished Families, which is a nonprofit in Colorado City. Let me turn this off. Weird. Oh yeah, here we go. 60 seconds. I'm getting better at this StreamYard business. There we go. So the space after is going to be in St. George. It is the RSVP is going to be free. We're still working on the tech side of our being able to RSVP. If you can show up in person, awesome. If not, you can. I don't know if I forgot. I don't know if you forgot, Kathy, but I'm glad you like that painting. It's my first completed painting, and I love that painting. But we're raising money for Cherished Families, which is an organization that benefits women who are victims of domestic violence and children who are, frankly, housing insecure as a result of the crumbling of the FLDS polygamous cult down in southern Utah slash northern Arizona. But yeah, but Crow is back home in home in St. George, where I'm storing it until the event, which again is on February 22nd. You guys can make it out. Great. Otherwise, we are going to open up the silent auction. Hello, welcome back in. Yeah, you'll be able to participate in the auction online. Mine are not the only pieces that will be featured at the show. My nephews have both submitted artwork. No, one of my nephews has submitted artwork, and then my niece has submitted artwork, and my daughter has submitted artwork, and my son, my middle child, will actually be at the show, helping us to run the show. My dear flesh and blood, and also chosen family sister Nikki is basically running the show, and she'll be there. We're going to be there. I'm based half the time out of St. George right now, anyways. But where I'm also going to be there with Nikki, because we're going to be because we're running the charity. We're working with people out in Las Vegas, unsheltered people in Las Vegas, also with people who are housing insecure out there. In a moment, we're going to go back. We're going to try again and see if this time we don't get a copyright strike again. We're going to be careful. I'm going to be careful about this. So, but yes, you'll be able to participate in the auction online too. Okay, so this is the rest of the movie. We're not the rest of the movie. We're gonna show a little bit more of the film Apollo 13. No, we're not AI. Anyways, but we're just going to do it a little bit differently here. We're going to turn the sound off. And I'm going to give you the play by play. So this is that, because this movie's too good. I mean, it's worth the risk. Here we go. Okay. So now we have these people, everybody's getting ready for the reentry. This is the point where, and this really did happen, where they're having this conversation behind Gene, where one of them tells him, he's like, so my understanding is that you've got maybe 3 blocks of ice for parachutes. And he says, I understand what the problems are. He says, this will be the biggest disaster in NASA's history. And they say this right behind Gene, who really does turn to them and say, with all due respect, I think this will be our finest hour. That's real. Telling you, Gene, rock star. Rock star. And that is like uncomfortable because of course it's uncomfortable. It's like, I mean, frankly, man, that was a bitch ass move. What the hell, man? Don't be saying that shit inside Mission Control. Don't be saying that. I mean, seriously. Did I tell you or did I tell you? Best casting, Ed Harris. Now, Lieutenant Dan, he ain't bad. But let me tell you, he looks nothing like Ken Mattingly, sounds nothing like Ken Mattingly. But this guy, Greg, is it Sinise? He's pretty baller. He's politically conservative, just apropos of nothing, as far as I understand. But from what I can tell, just on the right of center side. And from what I could tell, pretty cool guy. I mean, he is a pretty cool guy. We can have cool people from different walks of life. I'm going to bring this back in. I'm going to bring this back in the sound for just this clip because it's just too good. Tom Hanks, looks, sounds nothing like Jim Lovell. And yet, but this moment.
Gentlemen, it's been a privilege flying with you.
Baller. You got Kevin get his play. Take it again. Somebody hit me up in the comments. Make sure that I'm still live. Anybody still got me live up here? Why did I get one person with comments like rolling comments? Am I down again? 3, 2, 1. Do you hear? Still live. Great. Thank you, Kathy. Kathy's my producer, executive producer Dick Wolf, but associate executive producer Kathy. Kathy of the Clay. Okay. So anyways, so they're flying. Now what happens is that they're going to have 3 minutes of blackout. Now that 3 minutes is the time that they are traversing through every layer of atmosphere. You see, they are basically in free fall. Now it looks like, oh, they're getting tons of resistance because you're getting all this friction off the heat shield, which again, they know has been damaged and they don't know how badly it has been damaged in the explosion. But so they don't know if these guys are going to burn up, and they don't know that the parachutes are going to open, that they have enough power to open up the parachutes. 3 minutes is how long it takes. You see the clock starting there of how long it takes when it's coming in at exactly the right angle where they lose radio action because basically this thing's on fire while it's falling out of the sky and falling in free fall. You think about how scary it is to jump out of an airplane. Think about jumping out of an airplane strapped onto the back of the elephant with 2 of your best buddies and not knowing if your parachutes are going to open. That's where these guys are. And frankly, it's been a journey to get there. It's a stressful situation. Let's see if we can get sound back. Do we dare? Do I dare?
Back to the Iwo Jima, our live cameras there. The Navy recovery and rescue helicopters already airborne, circling, waiting.
My favorite part, one of my favorite parts is they're watching this. And they're watching this. I don't know if this is really true, but the little boy, his mom, Jim Lovell's wife, is holding on to her kids, and the little boy says to her, he says, "Mommy, you're squishing me." She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then the priest moves over and puts his hand on the little boy's head, and you want that to be a tender moment. In 1995, when I remember watching the movie, I'm like, "Oh, good, they have their priest there. That's good." And then now it's just weird. It's not like we learned anything new. We just really learned something, pretty much. Whatever. Oh, don't touch the little boy. Don't touch the little boy.
Odyssey, Houston, do you read me? Odyssey, this is Houston.
So again, you got Ken Mattingly there. He's actually trying to reach out. 3 minutes comes and goes. And now this is important. Remember that nobody has ever come in at the steep angle or at the shallow angle that they have come in at. And one of the consequences of that is that their blackout time was longer. It was a longer period of time and nobody knew how long that would be because again, nobody had ever tried to come in at the wrong angle before. They realigned as closely as they could, but they frankly had to like reverse their the engine fire to slow down. They're using the engine that's supposed to accelerate them out. They're using it to slow down. And then again, they had to use the COAS while they were still re-entering to try and come in at a different angle from behind. But frankly, at some point, it's just impossible to get this completely right without a guidance computer. And so that's why they don't know if these guys are alive or dead. And frankly, once again, could have very easily burned up in the atmosphere. There was nothing to do about that. And they were coming at the wrong angle too fast. They could have crushed in the atmospheric pressure or come in at the wrong angle, got knocked off the wrong angle and gone tumbling into the sea and crushed when they hit the water, especially if those parachutes don't open. And again, no one knows about these parachutes. That guy's Buzz Aldrin, who apparently really was at Jim Lovell's house there to just kind of be there. Again, I mean, look, we're playing it up like they're there for moral support to help with the family as they get through because they lived in the same neighborhood. They were very closely knit, and all the astronauts' wives knew each other, were like steeped in each other's business and family business and stuff. And it was kind of a tense situation out there. But again, remember, these guys are there effectively to comfort these families because there's a very real possibility that they're about to learn that the crew of Apollo 13 died in reentry. And that's not the first time. Remember that Apollo 1, they burned up on the launch pad. And it was actually Jim Lovell and the other astronauts who had gotten together say, if you ever want us to get into one of these capsules again, you're going to put blast caps on this damn thing so that all of these guys are pilots, basically, with the exception of I think Randy Swigert? Is it not Swigert, but Swigert? Anyways, with the exception of that guy and a couple others, these guys are all scientists, engineers, or pilots. And for the most part, they are test pilots, and including Jack Swigert, by the way. And Jack Swigert actually was a combat pilot in the Navy, and they are used to having a ripcord, like eject. It's like, and of course the engineers are like, you can't eject into fucking space, dude. And they're like, I don't care, dude. You put blast caps on this thing and you give me a ripcord so that I can pull. So that if nothing else, if we're on the launch pad and a fire breaks out in the cockpit, in the command module, we can pull the ripcord and get out of this thing, because at that point, with the fire burning inside, sucked all the oxygen out. They could have probably saved those astronauts, but because it was on fire, and it's the pressure, the reverse pressure that was being created from the fire inside, meant that even when they were trying to get the hatch back open, they couldn't get it open. We're gonna risk it.
Houston, do you read me?
Everybody's still cool. And that's his little boy at From what I understand, that is actually accurate. His little boy um was in military school. He was like in military prep academy, preparing to go into Navy like his dad. And can you imagine being there and you don't know if your dad is alive or dead out there in space? I mean, like, that's got to be rough, man.
Hello, Houston. This is Odyssey. It's good to see you again.
Okay. So I've never made movies, right? I spent 30 years failing to make movies. And I can tell you, this is a weird thing, right? I've directed a lot of actors in my years in the corporate video world. And even in corporate video, there's these moments where you're like, okay, so what's just happened is this blah, 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 blah. And everybody's excited. And we're back to 1 and 3 and 2 and 1 and action. And all of a sudden, these people have to really pull it off. And let me tell you, once again, Ed freaking Harris, man. Nobody does it like Ed Harris. I'm sorry. This is hard truth. Like, this man has earned all his accolades. He is like OG, one of the best actors like ever. Anyways, I love this freaking movie. Can you tell? We're going to try one more time with the sound here in a moment. We're going to make sure it's at the right moment. So they splash down. Fun, interesting factoid I only learned about in the last few months. While the Iwo Jima, which is the carrier that's there to pick them up, is sending out helicopters to go and find them, they don't actually know 100% where these guys are going to splash down. And so the Soviet Union actually sent 4 surface fleet vessels to come and get them. And so they're out there. The Americans and the Soviets are out there looking for Apollo 13, sincerely, just to help. And now they've made it down, they splashed down. Tender moment.
Houston, we're at Stable 1. The ship is secure. This is Apollo 13 signing off.
I get it. Universal. You don't want us just showing your movie. But frankly, I don't know why. Because this is like, all I'm doing is trying to promote your damn movie here. You guys can relax. YouTube, you guys can relax. Okay? We're not going to show any more of Apollo 13. It's a great freaking movie. I'm still marveled that there are people in this world who haven't seen this movie. So, here's your point. If Ken Mattingly had not been suspected to have the measles, they might never have made it back home. If Fred Hayes had not had pneumonia, they might not have made it home. And it's all of these things. This is what's had me thinking about this week. And I'm not going to bring too much. I'm not trying to bring any politics into this. You guys know that I believe in secularism. I don't tell anybody how to vote. I don't shame anybody for how they vote. And I have said time and time again, while disclosing my political bias, I would ordain MAGA people into the Church of Korihor if they were about doing the good work and helping. And frankly, we could use the help. So don't get anybody come after me with, you're supposed to keep church and state separate. I believe in that. I'm practicing that. I try to be careful about things. But at the same time, as I have said from the beginning, this is a moral crisis. In that first Godless sermon, you guys remember again, it's called We're Going Home. The first one I ever gave over a year ago. I mentioned that I had recently discovered that in 2018, 1 year after some major political changes had happened in America, no reason to revisit that. We're all trying to recover and not doing great. that in 2018, after Congress had passed new regulations that restricted food stamps, 8,000 people in America, for the first time in that kind of numbers since the Great Depression, 8,000 Americans died of hunger. And it's largely because an act of Congress forced the CDC to start publishing this data more regularly, because normally they would publish it in larger intervals. But they told them, look, you have monthly numbers coming in, update the public on what actually Americans are dying of in real time, as close to as real time as possible. So now the CDC actually, by law, has to report accurate ongoing numbers of what kills Americans. And it was disturbing from that point on. We were getting live updates, and we're still, as far as I can tell, we're still getting pretty much live updates month to month of causes of death in the United States, and consistently growing. One of the major factors of how people go. And when you guys say oops, I worry that somebody's saying that we lost the live. Everybody, are we still live? Somebody hit me up back again with. Oh, did I go down? 11:01. That was 4 minutes ago. Did I really? Okay, if you're still there and can still see me, come back.